Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of Amy Priesmeier. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Amy Lynn Priesmeier was born in August 1980 and lived in Lancaster, California. This is about 70 miles north of Los Angeles. When she was 16, she met a 21-year-old man named Richard Coles, who went by the name Ricky. He worked for his father's electrical company and lived in his parents' guest house. Amy became pregnant, so in July 1997, the couple moved into a two-story apartment on Gadsden Avenue in Lancaster. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On August 12, 1997, just after 9 p.m., Amy Priesmeier called 911 and reported that she found Ricky badly injured in their apartment. The police arrived on the scene. Here is what they found during the course of their investigation. Ricky was on the floor of an upstairs bedroom. He had been shot one time in the head with a small caliber pistol. One spent case was left behind at the scene. It appeared as though his head had also been struck with something like a hammer. There was no forced entry into the apartment, and nothing was missing, including Ricky's wallet, which contained his credit cards and $60 in cash. Ricky was airlifted to a hospital where he died on August 15, 1997. The police learned that there had been some tension in the apartment leading up to Ricky's murder. Friends of Amy, Jennifer Kellogg, and Sarah Chapin, stayed in the apartment for about a week in early August. This led to arguments between Ricky and Amy. Ricky did not want the girls living in the apartment, believing they were using substances. During an argument on August 11, the day before Ricky was mortally wounded, Amy told Ricky she hated him. Ultimately, Amy agreed that Jennifer and Sarah should move out, and they did. Other than this conflict between Ricky and Amy, the police could not identify any motive that Amy may have had to harm Ricky. Furthermore, she had an alibi for the time when Ricky was attacked. No progress was made in the case, and Amy continued with her life. She moved in with her parents and gave birth to a daughter named Kaylee. In early 1998, a man named Joey Green was arrested for a crime unrelated to Ricky's murder. Joey told the police that a man named William Hoffman was the killer. William, who went by the name Billy, worked at a Kmart, was a drug user, and was a small-time drug dealer. He lived within walking distance of Ricky's apartment. As it turns out, Billy had told several people he killed Ricky. The police arrested Billy in April 1998, and he went on trial in 1999. During his trial, he denied responsibility and pointed the finger at Joey Green. Despite this, Billy Hoffman was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The police assumed that the case had been solved. The killer had been brought to justice, and there was no more to the story. In 2002, after finding religion in prison, Billy sent a letter to Ricky's family. In the letter, he confessed to killing Ricky and apologized for his part in the murder. Investigators found Billy's use of the word part to be intriguing, almost like someone else was involved. They interviewed Billy in prison, where he shared a new and terrifying version of his story. Based on what Billy said and a few other sources, here is what investigators were able to piece together about Ricky's murder. A few weeks before the attack, Amy Priesmeier's friend, Jennifer Kellogg, asked Billy if he would be willing to kill someone. Billy said that he would. After this, Billy met with Jennifer and Amy in Ricky's apartment. Amy indicated the target was Ricky. The girls gave Billy gloves and potatoes to prepare him to commit the murder. Apparently, the girls believed that a potato could function as a suppressor, like Billy could shoot through a potato, and this would reduce the noise generated by the discharge of the firearm. The girls showed Billy the layout of the apartment, gave him a photograph of Ricky, and described Ricky's routine. Ricky typically left work at around 5 p.m., parked his car in the garage, and would go directly upstairs to the bedroom. Billy indicated that he expected to be paid $500 to $1,000 for the murder, although he never made firm arrangements to get his money. For $100, Billy purchased a pistol from a friend of his named David Asbury. David and Joey Green took the gun to a desert and practiced shooting. They tried using a potato as a suppressor, but the potato was obliterated. The desert became a potato graveyard, a cruel end for a spud who just dreamed of being French fries. After this potato explosion incident, Billy decided he would use a pillow as a suppressor instead, but his plan was still half-baked, a fate which the potato would never enjoy. When the time came to kill Ricky, Billy overslept, therefore the murder was rescheduled for August 12th. On that day, Ricky left a note for Amy saying he would be home by 9 p.m., which was 4 hours later than normal. Amy called Ricky multiple times toward the end of his workday, wanting to know what time he would be home, and directing him to be home at 9 p.m. While Ricky was at work, Amy and Jennifer went to see Ricky's sister, Shaylin, at a McDonald's where she worked. The girls insisted that she go to Baskin-Robbins with them, which Shaylin thought was unusual because they never stopped there before. Shaylin often went to Ricky's apartment after work, but Amy told her not to visit until after 9 p.m. because she and Ricky were going to work on their relationship. Sometime around 5 or 6 p.m., Amy and Jennifer picked Billy up from his apartment and drove him to Ricky's apartment. Billy had a claw hammer, a knife, a pillow, and of course a gun, which had been used to kill the potato. He waited in a closet in Ricky's bedroom. However, as I mentioned, Ricky was running late that day. Billy became bored waiting for Ricky, left the apartment, and started walking home. Using a motor vehicle, Amy and Jennifer intercepted Billy and directed him to return to the apartment because Ricky would be coming home soon. Billy returned to the apartment to wait for Ricky in the closet. When Ricky was done work, his father offered to get a drink with him, but Ricky declined, saying he had to get home because he and Amy were going to work on their relationship. After Ricky arrived home, he went to his bedroom, as expected. Billy exited the closet and struck Ricky with the hammer. Ricky turned around and yelled, at which time Billy shot him one time in the head. Billy did not even think to use the pillow as a suppressor and became worried that somebody may have heard the gunshot. He used the hammer to strike Ricky 2 more times in the head before leaving the apartment. To inform his conspirators that the job was complete, Billy sent the number 0 to Jennifer's pager. In 2005, the police arrested Amy, Jennifer, and David. Amy Priesmeyer went to trial. She was convicted on July 30, 2007. About 7 months later, she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Jennifer Kellogg pleaded guilty to manslaughter and solicitation to commit murder. She received only 17 years in prison. She is no longer listed as an inmate. Presumably, she has been released. David Asbury pleaded guilty to being an accessory and received 2 years in prison. In 2012, a law passed in California which affected Amy's sentence. The law indicated that juveniles sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole could petition for resentencing after 15 years. In light of this change, Amy was offered a deal. She pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 16 years to life in prison. In 2024, she was denied parole. Her next parole suitability hearing is scheduled for May 2027. Just like Amy, Billy Hoffman escaped his life sentence. His sentence was commuted by the governor of California, and he was released after serving 20 years. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. Amy Priesmeyer has had a rough time in prison. She published an article on a website for prison writers where she revealed several complaints, including about being in solitary confinement. Amy claimed that the prison system in California avoids disclosure and responsibility for their dirty deeds. Her headphones came up missing, and the prison seized her television. There have been no toothbrushes, combs, or bars of soap available for 3 weeks, and a woman 4 cells down from her had a malfunctioning toilet for 2 days. Amy wrote, quote, "To think I am labeled as a felon, criminal, or possible threat to society is preposterous," unquote. She indicated that she had 2 serious rule violations in prison, which means she had just 2 bad days out of all the days she had been in prison. Amy compared this to a transportation officer who allegedly broke the speed limit and talked on a cell phone while driving her to court. It makes sense now that Amy was denied parole in 2024. Item number 2, Billy Hoffman murdered Ricky Coles after Jennifer and Amy made the request. His level of commitment to the homicidal plan did not appear to be intense. For example, He overslept on one occasion, never finalized his payment arrangements, and had given up on the plan and was walking home when Jennifer and Amy sent him back to the apartment. After his confession in 2002, the police asked Billy about his motive. He didn't really know why he did it, other than he thought being a killer would be glamorous. His explanation is consistent with him telling several people after the fact. Billy just wanted to be a tough guy and impress his friends. Item number 3. Amy's motive for the murder is unknown, but there are some clues available as to what she may have been thinking. For example, when Ricky was in the hospital after being shot, Amy visited him. When it became clear that he was not going to survive, she entered his room and cried, saying she couldn't believe he was going to die because her birthday was coming and he promised to buy her a car. Several days after Ricky's funeral, Amy visited a local fair where she laughed and appeared to have a good time. She told an acquaintance that Ricky had ruined her birthday. He impregnated her, therefore she could not get high and drunk. Furthermore, since Ricky was dead, he could not get her a car. I guess it's possible that Amy killed Ricky because she was mad about her pregnancy. However, it is also worth considering how Amy was upset that Ricky demanded that Jennifer and Sarah move out of his apartment. Maybe she killed him because he embarrassed her in front of her friends. This could also explain why Jennifer was involved. Item number 4. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Amy Priesmeier was self-centered, arrogant, impulsive, irresponsible, manipulative, deceptive, cold, callous, hedonistic, materialistic, sensation-seeking, angry, aggressive, violent, and had a sense of entitlement. Ricky Coles was a hardworking young man, but technically, being involved with Amy represented a criminal offense. He was 21 and she was 16, so there was a 5-year age difference. Furthermore, he was an adult and Amy was not. Back in 1997, enforcement of these types of offenses in California was inconsistent, but Ricky could have been charged with a misdemeanor or a felony, because an age difference greater than 3 years was a wobbler offense. Amy wasn't upset about the age gap, but she did get angry at Ricky about other issues. She conspired with Jennifer to find a hitman, which, unbelievably, wasn't that difficult. Amy surrounded herself with people who had poor judgment just like her. The most competent member of the murder team was the potato. After eliminating Ricky, Amy had a ton of regret, but not because of the murder part, rather because it prevented her from getting a car. In prison, Amy has repeatedly proven why she belongs there. She is a hardened offender who blames everybody but herself. Those are my thoughts on the case of Amy Priesmeier. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.